would like to know something about Muharram and what our brothers, the Shia, do in this month and what is Hudur's opinion about that.
You see, Muharram al-Haram has a history much longer than related to Karbala. And according to Islam, Muharram is a very important month. And the very name Muharram indicates that there is a warning from Allah that you must behave and abstain from certain things, particularly crime. So I believe this name is indicative of a prophecy. Right from the beginning it was destined that Jerusalem's family will be cruelly treated on this month. And I always look at Muharram as a destined month right from the beginning, in the knowledge of Allah it was. And so the appropriate name was given to this. And yet that warning was not taken. Yet the cruelty was perpetrated. This is unbelievable, unthinkable. And unfortunately, instead of getting the right message from this, some people got the wrong message. And the resultant sect in Islam, Shiaism, got its full impetus and strength from what happened during the Muharram, the 10th of Muharram particularly. So unfortunately, this sacrifice has not been properly understood. I believe that this was an indication that people had not shown that gratitude to Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam which was due to him. That was one very particular message. But there are other messages in this. As far as the representation of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is concerned, that is through Khilafat. And without Khilafat, whoever confronts the institution of Khilafat, he is to be taken individually. His relationship to anybody has no meaning. Now, that is understood, but it does not mean that the family of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam should have been treated like that. I'm not defending that at all. But if you go deeper into this, then some messages are drawn. But after the translation is done, then I'll return to the subject. You see, the message I read from that is that time the piety and righteousness is over-trusting. It becomes credulous. And those people who are innocent and pious, they don't read the mischief behind the intentions of others. So this is a very fit case to study right from the beginning as to what happened. People of Kufa kept sending messages to the progeny of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam that you deserve to be the caliph after Hazrat Ali Radhiyallahu anhu. You have every right, and your right has been usurped. So come and we'll support you. We'll rise with you, and we'll accept the Bayat al-Khilafah with you. Now this is a very critical decision to be made as to what should have been the reaction. The point which should be understood is that Muawiyah had already established a sovereignty, a rule, while Hazrat Ali Radhiyallahu anhu remained Khalifa, and he did not fight it out with him and permitted him to remain in office of that sovereignty, or as a ruler of the state.
Wilaya.
Huh?
Wilaya.
Wilaya, yes. But he never accepted him as Khalifa, nor the Muslims as a whole should have accepted him as a Khalifa. So this is the most critical juncture of Islamic history, which people failed to understand, and with the result, so much confusion was born and so much cruelty was perpetrated. I will come to analyze this issue, then inshallah you will begin to see the light through the fog. Now, two Khilafat al-Rashida cannot simultaneously run. There is one unity of God under which Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the center of the manifestations of Allah's unity in the world. He is Khalifatullah. Under him you can't have split Khilafat, it's impossible, unbelievable. So there was only one Khilafah, that was Hazrat Ali's, Radiyallahu anhu. And Muawiyah's Khilafat was only in name. But if you further analyze the Islamic concept of state and spiritual leadership, then you begin to see a few other things in this situation. Nowhere has Islam declared that there should be only one state in Islam. The state power can be divided. That is why the Holy Quran very clearly says that if you disagree with each other, different Muslim states come into conflict with each other, it is the responsibility of the United Ummah, United Nations-like concept is born, to unite their forces against the warring states, which are Muslim states. So if there was just one state, this ayah doesn't mean anything. So this ayah of the Holy Quran gives a very clear message that under Islam, the political unity under one head is not essential, nor is it possible. But spiritual unity under one head is possible. So Khalifa could remain Khalifatullah or Khalifatul Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and people living in the territory of Muawiyah could have paid homage to him and remain under his bay'ah. But it did not mean that unless a political revolution takes place, this Khilafat cannot extend the borders into the other states of Islam. Now, if this is not right, then this verse doesn't mean anything. And if this is not right, then it means that all the Muslims were spreading in China, everywhere in the world, they had no Khilafat and no leadership. This is also wrong. So from this I infer that they could have directly accepted or should have directly accepted the spiritual leadership of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's successor, that is Hazrat Ali at that time, and remained in spiritual bay'ah to him. As far as the political sovereignty of power is concerned, that could have remained with Muawiyah or anybody else. When there was a disagreement on religious matters, then according to the Holy Quran, the matter should have been referred to Allah and the Quran. Muhammad Rasulullah, Allah and Muhammad Rasulullah. That is, Allah is represented by Quran and Muhammad Rasulullah is represented by his traditions, and it doesn't mean that everybody should directly ask Allah. It means that Allah has made himself manifestly clear in the Quran. So that should have been the ideal, perfect formula to work amicably during those periods of disturbances. The Quran was clear, the understanding failed. That was the unfortunate point. And Hazrat Ali Radiyallahu Ta'ala Anhu was also Khalifa to all the Muslims which had converted to Islam during that period, even in China. The Chinese Muslims had started, taken root during that period. In India and elsewhere, Islam had already got introduced. So who was their Khalifa? Not Muawiyah. Muawiyah's rule ended where his borders ended. But Hazrat Ali's Khilafat was universal because he was the Khalifa of a universal prophet. So this is how it should have been understood. And the Holy Quran was very clear. So it was unfortunately mixed up with political rule. This issue was confused with political rule. And that is why when the members of Hazrat Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's family were invited. The people who had invited them, in fact, did not want to accept them as their spiritual leader only. They wanted to use their name, their authority, their standing with the people of Islam for their ulterior motives of rebellion against Muawiyah. That is what started all the debacle which followed.